Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Today is the start of, a brand new series. Well, not really brand new, I guess. It's a series that we did last year where we reviewed every single team in the NHL and talked about all their off seasons so far. And I love the series. It absolutely popped off last year. So once again, we're going to be doing it again because I absolutely enjoyed myself the last time. So if you guys haven't watched the series last year, the way that we do this is we give the team a grade, whether it be an A, B, whatever it may be, or an F. And we're going to be looking at, of course, the Anaheim Ducks today. So last year I gave them a B. So we're going to be analyzing the grade that we gave them this year and the grade that we gave them last year. And now, how do I get to a grade lettering? And basically, how that goes is how well they did in the trades, their drafting, and also their free agent signings on the amount of players they lost to the amount of players they gained, and if it helped them positively moving forward. Now, we're going to, of course, start it off with the Anaheim Ducks. This was a team, of course, still rebuilding. They actually had a decent draft, which we'll be getting into later on. But before we jump into the Anaheim Ducks, I'd just like to say, if you are new to the channel, make sure to slap that subscribe button and hit that like button as well. Let's get into the Anaheim Ducks, as once again, they had a pretty slow off season. I think they only really signed Comtois to a new deal. Same with Getzlaf. I don't really think they brought in any big players, but for like Buddy Robinson, they really didn't acquire. I think the only player they also lost was Dante Heinen, but we're not going to start with the free agency. We're going to start off with the draft. Now, this team really didn't do a whole lot of trades. I think they only did one trade where they picked up like another third or something like that from Montreal, but they didn't do a whole lot of trades. Now, with this draft, I was actually pretty happy with what they did. They got Mason Mctavish, who was lighting it up there in the Swiss League, I think. He had like 9 goals in 12 games. He was just an absolute stud for the Anaheim Ducks. And yeah, the Olton, 9 goals in 13 games, 11 points. He was great for the World Junior Championships. And also another really exciting prospect I think most Ducks fans should be really excited about is Sasha Patanjo. This was probably one of the biggest steals out of the entire draft. This guy should have been, up in the first, maybe high up in the second round, with how this guy has really good potential. 41 games, he had 65 points. Just absolutely lit up the league in this past season, and you can see how well he did there in the USHL as well, in the World Junior Championship. So the guy was playing a ton of hockey this year. You got to see him a ton, and he was just lighting up the league. And I think, as an Anaheim Ducks fan, you should be really excited about your prospect pool, right? You got Sam Collagelo, I probably say his name wrong, but they drafted him last year, and he was a sick-looking player as well. I know he wasn't part of this draft showcase, but this guy is going to be a deadly guy moving forward for the Anaheim Ducks, and I'm pretty excited about their prospect system with, Sam Collagelo coming up. You got, Peralt looking pretty good. You also have Sasha Patanjo. The rest of the draft wasn't that bad either. I thought they did really good. I'll probably even give him like a B plus. Mason Mctavish was probably a bit of a reach at that 3rd overall selection, but if you needed a centerman to kind of go right behind Trevor Zegras, or a goal scorer that could play alongside of Trevor Zegras, that is your guy moving forward. Let's get into their free agent signings, which, they didn't do a whole lot for their free agent signings. They got Comtois to a 2-year, $2 million deal. They re-signed him. Same with Mac Jones. They re-signed him to a 3-year, 1.295 deal, which I think is great value for Max Jones. He's definitely not the greatest player in the world. He's just a nice grinder who pots you a couple goals. I think that's perfectly worth Max Jones. Josh Muhara, 2 years, nice deal for him. Same with Ludestrom and Steele. Practically prove me deals, right? They haven't really been able to take that next step up. Sam Steele is 23 years old. You really want him to be that guy over, playing 3 years, almost 3 full seasons in the NHL now. I mean, not really, 2 full seasons, I guess, and he didn't really do that well last year. And I think the biggest thing was they don't have a lot of goal scorers, and you look at that roster, and I mean, like, who's gonna score? I mean, Volkov, you got him now who could score some goals. Trevor Zegras will be coming into the lineup this upcoming season, so that might be pushing Steele out of the lineup here very soon, with a lot of, young prospects coming into the lineup. They also re-signed Ryan Getzlaf to a $3 million 1-year deal. I actually didn't think Ryan Getzlaf was going to be going back to the Anaheim Ducks. I actually thought he was going to be going to the Edmonton Oilers, or what I was also hearing, the Montreal Canadiens as well. I didn't think he was going to re-sign with them, but he ended up doing that. He ended up going back with the Anaheim Ducks for a $3 million deal, which, if we take a look at Jfresh's analytics now, I got to shout him out. Go check his link down in the description below. We're going to be using a lot of his analytics where we look at least one of the players out of each team, kind of analyzing them, which is why I picked Ryan Getzlaf, because, I mean, there wasn't a lot of big signings, not a lot of big trades from this, not a lot of big acquisitions that they got, so I thought Ryan Getzlaf would be a cool guy to look at, as he's still really playing good, honestly. His stats, defensively, he jumped up this year, and I mean, majority of the guys there in Anaheim did jump up defensively. Even though the Anaheim Ducks were the worst team in the division, they were not terrible defensively. The biggest thing that they were terrible in was goal scoring, and even though he was, the team was still terrible goal scoring, he still put it up a lot of expected goals for with 81%. So they were able to get some goal scoring. Ryan Getzlaf would be a very deadly player. That's why I thought, why not Ryan Getzlaf go to some other team and maybe, go to Montreal, be their third, fourth line centerman, or even the Edmonton Oilers, but he wanted to stay here in Anaheim. He's been, he was drafted here back in like 2005, something like that, won the cup there in 2006 with them, and he's just been riding along with them, and I don't think you're going to see Ryan Getzlaf leave until he retires. I think he will probably retire as a Duck. So, what is my letter grade for the Anaheim Ducks over this this offseason? I like their draft. They only lost Dante Heinen, which wasn't that big of a loss, and some AHL guys like Andy Welinski. I don't think they lost too many guys that are going to affect the team. They drafted some really good guys in Sasha Patanjo and Mason Mctavish, basically what they did last year. I think I'm going to give this team a B once again. This team didn't do too much during this offseason. Sure, they didn't get a Kevin Shattenkirk, but I mean, Shattenkirk wasn't really worth it last year, just because you're rebuilding, right? There's no point of picking up a guy like that unless you're going to be trading him, even though they locked him up for long term. But looking forward to next year. I think the Anaheim Ducks are going to be a pretty exciting team with Zegras probably playing full-time and same with Jamie Drysdale. This team should be a really exciting team moving forward. So if you're an Anaheim Ducks team fan, I would be very excited about this team moving forward, even though I'm a little bit worried about, their prospect system and how deep it is, because of the fact that they haven't really traded, a whole lot of their current core, right? Like Lindholm, Shattenkirk, Fowler, and Manson are still here from the time that they started rebuilding. Same with Raquel, same with Henrique, and same with Silverberg. They haven't dumped off any of those guys yet. So will they dump off those guys and maybe fully start rebuilding, or are they just going to do like a half rebuild and start trying this upcoming season? So we'll see how they do. They placed 8th in the West Division last year. We'll see how well they place in the Pacific, but I'm going to give them a B once again. I think that's a perfect letter grade for them. They didn't do too much. They didn't really pick up anybody, but their contracts are at perfect value. I think Comtois is an absolute steal at $2 million, especially the year that he put up with 33 points in 55 games. So, and if he keeps producing, that's going to be one of their big producers going into next year, right? He was one of the only guys that had, over 10 goals, him and Henrique. So, they definitely need some more goal scoring. Like I said in the last year's video, where I said that this team would struggle goal scoring wise. They did. They didn't do anything this past season. They did get Volkov. They did get some younger guys jumping in the lineup. So we'll see how it all works out. I don't think Anaheim Ducks will be a playoff team, but I'm going to give them a B letter grade for their offseason. But for right now, guys, I'm going to end the video here. Tell me, guys, in the comment section below what you would give for the grade for the Anaheim Ducks in their offseason. But for now, guys, I'm going to sign off here. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Adios, amigos.